evening and welcome to our Winter Sports Award Ceremony. It's been a winter season like no other. Games have been moved on a moment's notice. Fans were not allowed at the beginning of the season, although we were able to let the parents come in towards the end of the season. Through it all, our athletes, coaches, and parents did a great job following all the rules and helping us out make it through the season. We'd like to congratulate all our winter athletes on a great season and for all your hard work you put in to make the winter a success. I would like to take a moment to thank a few people. For the parents first for their support, attendance at our games when we were allowed to have attendance, and just for supporting the teams for everything that they do. Thank you also for following the COVID guidelines that were set by the state and the Colonial Conference. The coaches, for all their time that they put into their sports, the late nights, still a lot of early weekends, and just the endless paperwork that needs to be done throughout the season. I'd like to thank Mr. LePayover and Mrs. Grady for all their help in keeping our athletes safe this season. I'd like to thank Mrs. Murkowski for everything that she does for all our athletes throughout the year, and also the administration, board members, our teachers, our staff members, our grounds, and our maintenance workers. Everybody really does anything they can to support our programs. And then our athletes. From the first time, from the beginning of training, all the time you put into it, this year was a crazy season, so the timelines were really mixed up. The late nights you were here, the early weekend practices, just making sure you're on top of your schoolwork so we didn't have to worry about having bad grades. The sportsmanship you have shown throughout the season for representing Audubon and the way you represented us all season. And really just for being flexible and understanding in these trying times. It's been another crazy season. We had actually 2 winter seasons where the sports were split up, and you guys just did everything you needed to do to get us through. So thank you again, and now we will start our Winter Sports Award Ceremony.
Despite the adjusted winter track season, our athletes made the most of their opportunities. Our season started 2 months late. We had to practice, compete outside because indoor venues were not being used, and we did not have a championship season. Even with all of the challenges, our athletes showed up every day and worked hard to get better. This dedication was highlighted by multiple snowstorms that we had at the very beginning of the season. Our only option for practices was to be outside on the track. So the team would show up with shovels in hand and start clearing the track after every storm. This was greatly appreciated by not only us coaches, but many athletes from the surrounding area that found their way to our track to work out. Without the meets at the bubble this year, the Colonial Conference was able to put together a polar bear meet dual meet schedule to give the teams an opportunity to compete and see the results of all the hard work they've been doing during practices. Our team really shined during these meets, no matter the conditions. And we had some nice warm sunny days and some brutally cold and windy meets. But overall, the team would go out, perform, and record many personal best times meet after meet. The team's success throughout the season did not go unnoticed by the rest of the conference, as we were invited to a select meet with Haddonfield and Cherry Hill East to compete at the end of the season with fully automatic timing. This gave our athletes a chance to get official results that could now be noticed by the entire state. The invitation to this meet was a great reward for all the hard work they did throughout the season. Here are all of our athletes. Nyla Coleman, Nyla Hanna, Aiden Williams, Nick Cristino, Aaron Ewing, Joseph Gaspari, Joe Moran, Ava Rizzo, Cooper Bannell, Mike Cipollone, CJ Gilmore, Mikhail Kalihi, Aaron Myers, Amanda Oshinsky, Siani Treber, Tyler Wells, Greta Davis, Casey Ewing, Enrique Herrera, Tim Knoll, Kelly Laughlin, Emily McGrath, Emily Owens, Sarah Parr, Maddie Spink, Aiden DeMeo, Zachary Williams, and Tyler Wilson. Now on to our Pride and Excellence Awards. For the girls, our Pride and Excellence Award goes to a 3-year winter track athlete and somebody that has been a team leader from the beginning. But this year was different. She took her leadership to the next level. With a delayed season, the team was only allowed to have virtual practices. So the coaches were able to give the athletes workouts to do on their own, but could not be there to help. Because of our absence during this time period, this athlete also became a coach. She made sure the athletes were showing up for each workout, bringing whatever equipment was needed, and motivating them throughout this virtual time. Her effort allowed the team to hit the ground running once our season officially began. The Girls' Pride and Excellence Award goes to Emily McGrath. Now for the boys, our award goes to another 3-year winter track athlete and someone that has become a quiet leader on the team. He leads by example, giving it his all every time he is on the track and for practice or competition. He is someone that is trustworthy, reliable, and will do anything needed for the team. During this season, he unfortunately did not have much competition during our meets. He did not lose a race the entire season. But whenever he raced, the entire team would be on the sideline cheering him on because it didn't matter to him if he had competition or not. He wanted to do the best that he could, no matter what. The team's excitement watching him run was amazing. The Boys' Pride and Excellence Award goes to Tyler Wilson. Congratulations on a great season, and keep up the hard work.
Good afternoon, evening, morning, whenever anybody's watching this. I'm Mr. Sylvester, Coach Sylvester of the swim team. Many of you know me as the guy that rambles longer than you want me to, every one of these. Now you get to hear me from the comfort of your own home. Starting it off the same way that everybody typically does as myself, need to thank Mr. Carbone, Mrs. Mirkowski. This year we need to thank a few extra people. I know that Mr. LePayover and Mrs. Grady, the nurse, were instrumental in getting information out to us about swimmers that had to quarantine at different times throughout the season, so much appreciation to them. This was a year where, countless things could have gone wrong, and I consider us kind of lucky that nothing major really happened for us. And a large part of it was the protocols that were set forth by the district and carried out by those individuals, and it made our lives a lot easier. As always, I have to thank the parents. You weren't allowed at meets this year, but that didn't change your support. It was unwavering as usual, and I know that we would have been there if we could have been. I do have to single out Mrs. Terry Wallace, who was able to set up a Facebook Live account for us and a Google account so that we were able to stream all of our meets regardless of whether the facility was doing so or not. That brought our meets home, and actually a little fringe benefit of giving me the opportunity to look back and rehash some really great memories from this season. I have to thank our managers, Danny Lynn, Quincy Bantle, and unfortunately for him, Nick Colon had to act as a manager this year. But they were all very helpful to us, and we're very grateful for everything that they did. A little bit slimmed down this year. Responsibilities were slimmed down this year, but they did a great job for us. My coaches, as usual, this team wouldn't be what it is without them. I can only take so much credit for the way the team runs. If you don't have people under you who are getting the job done, then it doesn't really matter how good the head coach is. Head coaches know what I'm talking about. Jeannie Weaver, Colleen McFetridge, who were there this year as they have been in the last 4 to 5 years. And Kelsey Vesby's spirit was there, even though she wasn't able to make it. We were in contact with her many times from Florida. And she helped even this year more than she realized with the pride and abilities that she's instilled in our kids the last few years. So I do have to thank her as well. As always, the players. And we say the same stuff every year, but this is the kind of year where swimming being off-site, we were in a different facility every single day and different facilities from day to day. And every facility had their own list of rules, had their own guidelines, had their own requirements for us to be able to participate there. And, it's great to have a group of kids on your team that you don't have to give any kind of thought to the fact that they will abide by those guidelines and do so without question. And this group, in addition to all of our other groups, I'm sure did a great job with that. But I was very impressed with how our kids handled this season. Their resolve never wavered. They stayed competitive. They stayed headstrong throughout the entire season. We put out a couple of improbable wins against Northern Burlington and Delran at the end of the year. They were there for each other as much as they could have been. We weren't really allowed to touch as much as usual. Hugging wasn't a thing then, but the exuberance that we would typically show after great races and at great meets, we were able to show that without going overboard and without breaking any facilities rules. As far as I know, we didn't have a single issue at any of our, we were at 4 or 5 different pools this year. They did what was needed every single race, every single day, every single practice, every single meet, and they didn't complain at all. Coaches had a lot of stress to deal with and a lot of stuff that we had to make sure that they the swimmers, did and completed along with their competition. And I do have to say that the kids made it easier for us this year, and we all know that could have gone in a very different direction. They were dealt not the best hand, as with everybody, and you would have never known it from the way that they responded this year. So it was, I was proud of them every step of the way. As a team, we went 7-2 overall, 2-2 in our division. We were down to 27 swimmers this year. Typically, we would have over 40 between the two schools. That really didn't mess with our competitiveness at all. We were just as competitive as in years past. As you can see, we were 7-2. We've been averaging a 7-3 season for the last 7 or 8 years. So we were right in where we normally were. And oddly enough, it broke up where we had 2 meets in February that we were against teams that we were almost guaranteed to lose against. And then there were a lot of question marks heading into March. I knew that 3 or 4 meets were pretty much guaranteed wins, but there were a lot of question marks, like I said. And we ended up going 7-0 in March. After starting the season in February, 0-2, we won out in March and won 7 meets in a row. Like I said earlier, the Delran and Northern Burlington meets at the end of the season were big question marks, and the kids rose to the occasion. The Sterling meet was among the fastest meets that I've ever coached, top 5, which on a team of 27 with no real standouts at the state level, we didn't have a single state qualifier individually, but that didn't really change our attitude. It didn't change the way that we prepared and the way we went out there. Kids were as hungry as they ever were, and it led to a really memorable season for more reasons than all of the COVID protocols. It is certainly one that we'll remember, and anxieties aside, it was a reassuring year when you build a program from scratch and you're dealt as many blows as you could have been this year, and to be able to overcome that without question is saying something. And I give these kids a lot of credit for doing that. As far as our swimmers are concerned, we had 5 freshmen this year. All of them were awarded JV letters: Sydney Williams, Kayla Hassenauer, Emily Powers, Trinity Singletary, and Sean Clark. Our varsity swimmers were Haley Long, Jared Arline, Xavier Rangel, Casey Wallace, and Gavin Mickles were our seniors. Sarah Colon, DJ Vespi, Billy Chu, and Ryan Clark were our juniors. And Mary Kate Owens was our lone sophomore. They were all varsity letter winners, all swam in every meet that they were eligible to swim in, and did really well for us. But as with every year, we have to award our Pride and Excellence winners. We have 2 seniors that won the awards this year. One who didn't start swimming until his sophomore year, and the first day of sophomore year practice stepped off the bus and said how much he regretted not swimming his freshman year. His dedication and perseverance was never in question. He was willing to go in any event that he was able to swim. Turned into a pretty good distance swimmer for us in his sophomore and junior years. And when some holes opened up in the sprint events this year, he stepped in and was able to be a sprinter for us. His gap was filled in the distance events, and he went as hard as he possibly could for the rest of the year. Just missed out on qualifying for the South Jersey Coaches Invitational. But if you would have told me his sophomore year that he would even had a chance, he's dropped about 15 seconds in his 100 freestyle since then. So, it was amazing that he had a chance. Your male Pride and Excellence Award winner this year is Casey Wallace. You can hear the claps in my head. On the female end, this swimmer swam. This was her 4th year swimming varsity for us. She did start as a freshman, but hadn't swam at all before then. She's been on numerous teams since then, has really embraced the sport. I know she swims in the summer for Collingswood from year to year, and she joined SJAC this year to become a much better swimmer. She's among the best teammates that I've ever coached, always has a smile on her face, always there to support anybody in any way that she could see fit. Really dropped a lot of time, turned into a pretty good freestyle sprinter this year, and has always been a 3rd or 4th option for us in the breaststroke. Your female Pride and Excellence Award winner is Haley Long. I think that'll do it for me. I didn't time myself, but I'm sure somebody out there is timing me. I'm probably under 8 or 9 minutes this year. I usually go into double digits from here. How'd I do, Mr. Coco?
O'Donnell. I am the head basketball coach here at Audubon for the boys. This is my 3rd season. Obviously a very interesting year for all sports this year, and so very unique situation. This year we were able to get in 13 games. We were scheduled for 15, but we actually had a 2-week shutdown with COVID. I want to thank Lillian and Tony and everybody that made this season possible, and everybody in the administration We weren't even sure if we were going to have a season, and then lo and behold, we did, and it was a very enjoyable one. It was very quick, with a lot of interruptions, it seemed, but it was great to be with the kids on a daily basis, and also just to keep the program moving and moving forward in the direction that we want. Right now, I'm going to just give you a rundown of all of our players, starting with our JV. The players on our JV this year were Jack Dempsey, Terry Herron, Reef Johnson, Ryan Johnston, Joe Slavin, Andrew Troe, Ryan Wallace, and Ryan Zimmer. Those guys were at practice every day doing their best to try to compete with the varsity and to just give the best possible effort they could to improve the program. They did a lot of really great things, and we certainly look forward to them being a part of the program moving forward. And now to our varsity. Actually, before we go to the varsity, I want to give a shout out to my managers, Ansley Liu and Gabby Orsino. We've had them the past 2 years. I couldn't have asked for two more reliable girls to just help out, be a constant on the sidelines. Anything I needed while the game was going on, I was able to ask them questions, and they were very quick with responses. They were extremely reliable, and I'm certainly going to miss them and hope that they do well moving forward. So again, Ansley Liu and Gabby Orsino, thank you so much. Okay, so for our varsity this year, we had 5 seniors. Our first is Ellison Reed, Matt Huckaluck, Chris Kennedy, Eli Perez, and Jake Nolan. Jake, unfortunately, for the second straight year, had a season-ending injury that cost him this year. It cost him his entire season. It was in the first quarter of our first game. Jake actually blew out his Achilles, and it was a non-contact injury. It was very surprising, and my heart broke for him, knowing that he went through a broken ankle last year, and then this year with that. So it was good to see him a couple times afterwards, and I know he has great things in the future for himself in college and moving forward. So Jake, certainly I wanted to mention him. So those are our 5 seniors, outstanding class. Again, it's bittersweet. You feel bad for them because they did not have a full season, but I'm so happy that they at least got a half of season in. We were in contention for our conference title for most of the year, so it was exciting while we were there. Again, very quick and a sort of a roller coaster ride. So I will introduce my one and only junior is Sean Driscoll. Sean had an excellent year. Again, expecting wonderful things out of him next year. We had 2 sophomores, Joe Callahan and Billy Lindemuth. Same thing. Joe was on the floor a lot for our varsity. Billy, not so much. Billy actually had missed our last 2 or 3 weeks because of COVID. But knowing what he brings, very excited for next year for Billy. And our one freshman is Luke Hoke. Luke, extremely good athlete. Very easy to see that when you watch him out on the court. And again, looking forward to being with Luke in a full season. Looking forward to being with all these guys in a complete season. Real quick about our season, we finished 7-6. We were able to play 13 out of our 15 games. It was a tale of 2 seasons. We started out 4-0. We lost to Woodbury and then avenged the loss to them to go to 5-1. And then the following day, I got a call from Tony, and we got shut down. There was a case on the JV level that affected our varsity because we all had played together that previous weekend in practice. And so 5-1, we get shut down just like that. I know a lot of you other coaches and have experienced this, and it was just it was crazy. It was really you felt like you were just in the ocean floating around, and there wasn't a whole lot that we could have done. So thankful for Tony. We were in touch practically daily, several times daily, and just trying to figure out, hey, what do we do with our schedule? How do we reroute a lot of these games? And we were able to get all of our conference games scheduled. At that point, we were leading our conference, and we certainly wanted to give it a try to win the conference. The other games, not that they're not important, but obviously we wanted to try to win our side of the Colonial. We come back from COVID, and boom, it's like I said, the tale of 2 seasons. We were 5-1, then we went 2-5. Our first day back, we had a huge game against Gloucester, and you could see the kids just obviously not in sync. The legs were not there. The energy was, even though how much they gave, it was very, very hard. By the end of those, we had to play those 7 games in 11 days, and then try to mix in a practice or 2 to try to get their legs under them, or however you want to put that. So it was a crazy season, but I'm so glad that we were able to at least finish or at least complete our 13 games. Again, 7-6. Very proud of the kids. It was the first time that the basketball team has had a 500 or above record in quite some time. So again, that's something we can certainly hang our hat on as we look to move forward as a program. And I'm certainly excited. We're a couple weeks away from the start of our summer league, which we did not have last year. Which, again, I know that all the other coaches and all the other programs had the same situation. So very much looking forward to getting back to a sense of normalcy. We have 2 special awards, or excuse me, 3. But let's go with our all-conference players first. Our first all-conference was Ellison Reed. Ellison was a senior this year for the 2nd straight year. He led us in scoring. He led us in rebounding. My personal opinion was he should have made all-conference last year. He did not, but he was first-team all-conference this year. He received the 3rd most votes of any player in our conference, in our division in our conference. So I'm very, very proud of what he accomplished. Here's a kid. The other coaches told me stories about having him in 7th and 8th and 9th grade. He seemed very uninterested in that. He just kind of played for the sake of playing, and then I think something clicked in him, and he realized that he had something to really give to the sport, and he did. And I was so proud and happy for him, proud of him, and he certainly deserved that honor. And what a wonderful player he was for me, for us, for the last 2 seasons. The other one is our junior, Sean Driscoll. Sean made 2nd team all-conference. Sean was in the shadow of his older brother Pat for a couple years, but now he's really coming into his own. He had a tremendous year for us. He was 3rd in scoring for us. Sean does yeoman's work. He does everything for the team. You know, you might think about it and you think, I'm not sure what Sean gave us tonight, and then you go and you watch the tape and you think, wow, he really did a lot more than I remembered. Sean's just one of those players. He's always fighting for the ball, around the ball, helping his teammates, rebounding, doing whatever it needs to be done for our team. So congratulations to Sean and Ellison on their all-conference. The big award for us is our Pride and Excellence. This goes to a player each year that really represents what we like to believe that Audubon is all about. The game of basketball is all about, and how you present yourself and play the game. This year our award is going to Matt Huckala, going to Huck. Anybody that knows Huck knows what a genuinely nice person he is. The best compliment I could give Huck, and I told him this when we met for our exit interviews, is I said, Huck, I wish somehow you were my teammate back in, I played many, many years ago, but I said I wish that I played with you because you are the ultimate teammate. You are the ultimate just selfless and just unselfish player that would absolutely do anything for the team. And whether he got 20 minutes or 2 minutes, it did not matter to Huck. He was there to cheer on his teammates and do everything that he could to just be the best teammate he could possibly be. And he was that. No coach could say a bad thing about him. Funny quick story about Huck. He had missed the first couple days at practice. And when he came back, the captains lead us in stretching, and they're up front. And Huck just basically walked into practice and walked up front and stood with the other captains. And I laughed, and I looked at the other 2 coaches, and I said, well, I guess he's definitely one of our captains this year. So congratulations to Huck. And real quick, shout out to my assistant coaches. R.J. Calloway was my freshman coach. He is now my JV coach. Ryan Boland is our new addition this year. He's our freshman coach. And Brandon Doherty is an add-on also. He is an assistant, basically just for JV and varsity, brings a lot of experience and knowledge to us. So we spent a lot of time getting to know one another this year and reacquainted with one another. So hopefully big things looking forward. Congratulations to all the other programs this year. And again, a special thank you to Tony for everything he did for our program this year. So thank you so much, and go Wave.
evening. My name is Cheryl Clark. I'm the girls varsity basketball coach here at the high school. First, I'd like to start off by thanking Mr. Carbone, Mrs. Murkowski, and all the administrations on behalf of the team for making this past season happen and for all their hard work in keeping things running smoothly despite numerous challenges and obstacles during an unprecedented year. Personally, I'd like to thank all of my assistant coaches over the past 17 years, including Amanda Brown, Denise Allman, and Donna Clark. As I stated, this year was unlike any other. This group of girls endured all the challenges of the pandemic as well as season-ending injuries to key members of the team during crucial times during the season. This thrust players into different roles that they weren't expected to play, and each and every player rose to the occasion. I am proud of the way the girls responded, and I'm so thankful to have coached so many great players the last 17 years. Our letter winners for this year include freshman Emily Bobo, freshman Gabby Brook, sophomores Kylie Alkins, Michaela Gavin, Siani Howard. Our juniors were Asia Maldonado and Allie Pooley, who served as our manager. And finally, our seniors, Ariana Concepcion, Megan Connolly, and Krista Lindmuth. Finally, our Pride and Excellence Award winner is none other than Megan Connolly. Meg was our leader, our point guard, our leading rebounder and scorer, and was always asked to cover the opposing team's best player. She did everything and anything we asked for her, and then some. She would create a steal on the defensive end of the floor, yet somehow be the first one down the floor to make a basket. Her energy and enthusiasm impressed us each and every game. She was named first team all-conference for her efforts. It was an honor to coach her and watch her grow as a player in person the last 4 years. I want to wish all of our seniors, Ari, Krista, and Megan, all the best, as well as the rest of the team moving forward. Thank you again.
Cheerleading, and I'd like to name all of the winter cheerleading varsity team. First we have Kira Collins, Erin Connolly, Brooke Grokowski, Ella Martin, Amber Romanowski, Katie Efemo, Lauren Escher, Camille Emmendorf, Layla Fallon, Sydney Price, Ellie Carulio, Ava Grommel, Cecilia Hubbs, Allie Lougheed, Sam Madsen, Dana Medler, Natalie Peshman, Tori Quinn, Phaedra Rabel, and Natalie Sylvester. I'd like to start off by thanking Mr. Carbone and Ms. Murkowski for all their efforts into making this season safe and successful. Our juniors did a phenomenal job this year, stepping up and fulfilling the leadership roles. They taught cheers, dances, and created jump sequences. This season was like no other. The team did an amazing job cheering for both the boys and girls basketball games. Things took a little getting used to performing in front of a camera and the live stream, but their motivation and team spirit kept them going. By the end of the season, it was great to be in front of spectators again. On to our Pride and Excellence Award. This year, we chose a girl with rising leadership skills and plenty of school spirit. She is proactive when it comes to preparing for games and never afraid to ask questions or help out. Our Pride and Excellence recipient this season is Tori Quinn.
Hi, I'm John Walsh, coach of the wrestling team. My assistant coaches are Kyle Muckley and Dylan Bushby. Our volunteers were Mitch Malinowski and Matt Cruz. Our JV wrestlers were Elijah Chittum, Brady Gilbert, and Jacob Dutil. Our varsity wrestlers were Lucas Stinger, Rocco Noach, Sam Myers, Blaise LaFrance, Aiden McGuckin, John Scolari, Taylor Donnelly, Devin Stinger, Elijah Lozada, Jerry Ortiz, Joe Monafronte, Jeff Jordan, Jake Jordan, and Tom Batillo. Our managers were both seniors, Sophia Bicken and Sophia Scardino. This year, our Pride and Excellence recipient is Tom Batillo. We had a good season this year. We finished with a 6-8 record, which was good enough for second in our division. We also had 4 wrestlers earn first team honors, those being Taylor Donnelly, Tom Batillo, Jake Jordan, and Jeff Jordan. We had 3 region qualifiers, Taylor Donnelly, Jake Jordan, who placed 5th, and Jeff Jordan, who became the 7th region champion in school history. Jeff also went on to become the school's 3rd state place winner by placing 7th in the state.
Well, this concludes the awards ceremony. I would like to again thank all of our athletes, and I would like to wish our seniors the best of luck in whatever they decide to do in the future. Thanks again, and good night.